Discovered, Millionaire witnesses housekeeper's amazing tattoo for her daughter battling cancer. Emma brushed her fingers against the smooth marble countertop, her mind a whirl of chaos as she cleaned the opulent kitchen of Greg Sutherland, the wealthy millionaire who inhabited this monument of excess. She was surrounded by perfection, gleaming utensils, polished surfaces, and extravagant decor that screamed wealth at every corner, an uncomfortable reminder of everything she felt she lacked. Every hour spent scrubbing and dusting felt like a ghostly waltz through a world that never truly acknowledged her existence. But Emma wasn't mourning her life choices, she was consumed by one vital force, Lily. Her 10-year-old daughter, so vibrant and full of talent, battled cancer with the heart of a lion. The relentless toll of treatments, bills, and medications bore down on Emma, tightening the knot of anxiety in her stomach. In her mind, every dollar she earned was a fragile thread connecting her to the hope of helping Lily realize her artistic dreams. She often grappled with the fear that her efforts would not be enough. Each day was a precarious balance of determination and despair. Visions of Lily, paintbrush in hand, smiled at her, but just as rapidly, a darker image clawed at her thoughts. What if the treatments failed? What if she couldn't provide for her in the ways that mattered? Hesitant yet fueled by a fierce mother's love, Emma gathered the courage to invite Greg to Lily's upcoming art show. The thought of facing potential rejection intertwined with the pride swelling in her chest made her heart race. The fear of disruption gnawed at her as she approached him in this palace of extravagance. Would he even care? Would he look down at her, a housekeeper with nothing but the hope of a dream? Before she could second-guess herself, she summoned the strength to extend the invitation. "Mr. Sutherland, I'd like to invite you art show?" He responded, barely lifting his gaze as he shuffled through papers. The nonchalance hurt. As she changed the dusting cloth in her hand, she noticed a glimmer in her skin, vibrant and radiant, the tattoo she bore as a testament to her bond with Lily. Designed by her daughter, it symbolized their unyielding fight against cancer, a constant reminder of both their hopes and struggles. Just then, Greg's indifferent eyes caught sight of the ink for the first time. "What's that?" he asked, curiosity slicing through his indifference. Emma's heart lifted momentarily, feeling seen. "It's a tattoo. By my daughter," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "It represents us." She shared their story, vulnerable yet hopeful, proud of their connection. But each word felt heavy, burdened by doubt and hidden fears. "Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As days passed and Lily's show approached, Emma found herself haunted by the specter of their disparate worlds. In Greg's burgeoning interest, she sensed a crack in the wall that separated their lives, yet fear threatened to seep in through that crack. What if he walked away, indifferent once more? What if the pain of his wealth overshadowed the raw beauty of their shared humanity? Just when Emma started to find solace in their budding connection, fate twisted the knife of hope. A phone call, ominous and sharp, shattered her fragile peace. Lily's condition was deteriorating. The news felt like a betrayal of the dreams Emma had once harbored. With the art show nearing and shadows deepening, the stark reality of their lives loomed. A bond formed in vulnerability was about to face its ultimate test. Would Greg's understanding hold, or would the world once again draw the lines that separated them? With unanswered questions locked in her heart, Emma looked into Greg's eyes, where both uncertainty and fragile hope danced as one. The tension hung like thick smoke, palpable and thick. Neither of them knew if it would clear or engulf them both entirely, as the future's looming darkness threatened to snuff out the light. Emma stood frozen in that kitchen, grappling with the intensity of what lay ahead. It was as if the polish of the stainless steel appliances reflected not only the light but also her crumbling facade of control. Lily's impending art show was meant to be a beacon of hope, a testament to resilience against a world that had so often turned its back. Instead, it loomed like a sword over her head, marking her every decision with the heavy weight of uncertainty. The news of Lily's deteriorating condition sent Emma spiraling. Each pulse of apprehension reverberated through her, twisting her stomach into knots. She had envisioned this art show as a pivotal moment, a chance to bridge the vast chasm between her life and Greg's. But now, with every passing day, that vision felt perilously fragile. How could she showcase her daughter's spirit against the backdrop of encroaching despair? Home took on a different hue. Their small apartment felt claustrophobic, the very walls murmuring doubt. She established a routine around Lily, intertwining art therapy sessions with moments of normalcy that felt more like a desperate grasp for control than authentic motherhood. Each brushstroke on canvas was a thread through a tapestry of chaos, but the gallery show now seemed like an unattainable dream. On the day of the art show, butterflies took flight in her stomach, their frantic flapping harmonizing with the rhythm of her heartbeat. Emma stood before her mirror, scrutinizing herself, searching for a glimmer of the confidence she needed to navigate this pivotal moment. She hesitated, fingers grazing the tattoo that marked her skin like an emblem of their journey. Could it evoke sympathy, draw in someone like Greg Sutherland? Or might it be perceived merely as a relic of struggle? She donned a simple teal dress, hoping to find balance between professionalism and the vulnerability she required in the face of her daughter's battle. Each step towards the gallery echoed her conflicting emotions: pride for Lily, fear for her future, and doubt about her place in this world of extravagance and privilege. Arriving at the gallery, Emma's breath caught in her throat. The room was a flurry of artists, critics, and potential patrons, opulent and bustling. It felt like she had crossed into another realm. Amidst the dazzling displays of talent, would Lily's collection stand out? Would it inspire? Or would it fade into the noise of rich laughter and well-polished conversation? As Emma scanned the crowd, she caught sight of Greg in a tailored suit, his presence as commanding as ever. In that moment, the mixture of worlds intensified, his movements fluid and assured, hers carefully measured, as if every decision hinged on the fragile thread of hope she clung to for Lily. Was it naive to believe that he could be her ally in this journey? Suddenly, a familiar tug drew her focus to Lily, who burst into the room with a radiance that filled the space like sunlight, her artwork brilliantly displayed behind her. This was a moment that belonged to the two of them, a celebration of resilience, an affirmation of love. Emma's resolve solidified. As they made their way to Greg, Emma felt a newfound sense of purpose swelling within her. She could no longer dwell solely on vulnerability, she had to embrace the strength that had carried them this far. But before she could reach him, she noticed another woman stride confidently to his side, a force of charisma that turned heads. Emma's heart sank momentarily as she recognized the intersection of envy and fear that clawed at her conscience. Could this woman's presence risk what she had come to believe in? With her daughter by her side and uncertainty thick in the air, Emma felt the stakes rise. It was clear now, this was not merely about Lily's art show, it was about their journey, the struggle against adversity, and the connections they dared to forge. She steeled herself and approached Greg with resolve, ready to confront the obstacles before her. A pivotal conversation awaited, and she was prepared to fight for her daughter's dream. No matter the cost. As Emma stepped forward, the atmosphere shifted, anticipation crackled in the air. What would this moment reveal about them all? Would the delicate thread of their shared humanity withstand the scrutiny of wealth and privilege, or would it fray under the weight of judgment? In this clash of worlds, the outcome remained uncertain, but Emma knew one thing: she was no longer just a housekeeper. She was a mother, an artist, and a force to be reckoned with. Emma approached Greg, her heart pounding. Each step felt monumental, a declaration that she was ready to challenge the unspoken boundaries that once confined her. The woman beside him rolled her eyes and sipped a glass of wine, oblivious to the significance of the moment unfolding. That indifference only fueled Emma's determination. "Greg," she called out, her voice steady despite the flutter of nerves. He turned, and for a split second, the world around her faded. It was just them, the past and present colliding in a swirl of misgivings and aspirations. "Emma," he replied with a hint of surprise that quickly morphed into a polite smile. "You look nice." "Thank you." "This is Lily's moment," she gestured toward her daughter, who was animatedly chatting with another guest about her art. "I wanted to bring you here, to show you what we've been working on." Emma's gaze locked with Greg's, and in that instant, she hoped for understanding in his eyes. But they were clouded, his attention flickering back to the woman beside him with a polished smile that felt like a dagger in Emma's resolve. "Of course. I can see she's excited," he said, making an effort to redirect his focus back to the artwork. "You've both done an amazing job." But there was something rehearsed in his voice, practiced enthusiasm that fell flat. The woman, now leaning comfortably into the conversation, made no effort to hide her scrutiny of Emma. "You must be so proud of Lily," she chimed in sweetly, the tone laced with something sharper than mere admiration. "Proud doesn't begin to cover it," Emma replied, not backing down. This was her moment too, a chance to assert her role not just as Lily's mother but as an artist whose struggles had birthed something resilient and beautiful. Conversations ebbed and flowed around them, but Emma stayed focused, summoning her courage. "I've been thinking a lot about support, about how every artist needs a safety net, especially in difficult times," she said, directing her words to both Greg and the woman. "It makes me wonder how many dreams go unfulfilled because the right people aren't there to champion them." Greg's brow furrowed slightly. It was subtle, yet she caught it. Did he feel the weight of her unspoken challenge? Just as quickly, the moment was interrupted by another guest stepping into their circle, demanding attention and shifting the dynamic once again. "I need to show you something, come with me," Lily suddenly exclaimed, tugging at Emma's sleeve. Her eyes sparkled not just with the excitement of her work but something deeper, a yearning for recognition that Emma couldn't ignore. As they followed Lily to her artwork, Emma's resolve grew stronger, interlaced with her mother's instinct. Would Greg truly support Lily? Or was he merely an observer, swept away by the glamour without acknowledging the profound depth of this journey? Standing before Lily's display, adorned with vibrant colors that spoke stories of pain and triumph, Emma felt the need to advocate for her daughter swell within her. This art show was more than a gallery presentation, it was a testament to their struggle, a chance to reclaim the narrative from the shadows of inadequacy. But as she turned to explain the stories behind each piece to Greg, his gaze darted elsewhere, drawn back to that stylish woman, whose laughter rang out like applause. The sting of betrayal twisted in her gut, but in that moment, Emma recognized a hidden strength erupting within. She had always lived in the margins, but now, as she recalled the late nights spent helping Lily create, an ember ignited. Perhaps it was time to reshape the narrative, to become not just a participant, but the leading voice. With newfound determination, Emma spoke to Lily about a potential partnership in a future project. Lily's enthusiasm lit up the room, and Emma could almost see the wheels turning in her head, envisioning a world where their art didn't just express grief but also celebrated resilience. As they walked back towards Greg, Emma's mind raced with possibilities. What would it take to transform this moment? Could she ignite a larger conversation in front of the crowd? The thought coiled around her as she moved closer to Greg, who was now momentarily unattended. She knew she had little time left. "Greg," she started, her voice steady yet tinged with urgency. "About that safety net," but before she could finish, the woman stepped in front, drawing Greg's attention away once more, as though she was stepping into a play where Emma was merely a background character. This time, Emma wouldn't let it happen. The stakes had risen sharply, and she was not here to be dismissed. The moment had arrived for a deeper confrontation. What was she willing to fight for, and who would truly stand beside her in this battle for recognition? With determination in her heart, Emma knew she had to stake her claim both for herself and for Lily. The road ahead was treacherous, but perhaps, in the echoes of a packed gallery, she might discover not just her own voice but a deeper calling within this landscape of art. In that charged atmosphere, she realized that the real conversation was yet to unfold and the true test would soon reveal just how far she was willing to go to protect her daughter's dreams. Emma took a deep breath, her determination coiling tightly within her as she assessed the scene. Greg stood with that woman, the distance between them now almost a physical barrier, like an invisible shield against her presence. But the sight of Lily's art flooded Emma with a sense of purpose. Those vibrant canvases represented everything she had fought for, every sleepless night, every self-doubt she had wrestled with. Lily's pieces deserved to be seen and heard, Emma murmured under her breath, the words igniting a fierce resolve. She realized this event wasn't just a showcase for Lily's talent but a critical moment to affirm her own identity as an artist, not merely defined by her roles as mother or ex-wife. With renewed vigor, Emma stepped forward, cutting through the social chit-chat that surrounded Greg and the woman. "Greg!" she called, her voice ringing with clarity and authority that took even her by surprise. His head turned, that familiar look of confusion flashing across his face. For buried somewhere in the depths of their shared history was the spark of connection she yearned to reignite. "I really want to talk to you about supporting Lily's art," she pressed, feeling the eyes of the guests around them shift with a blend of curiosity and anticipation. The woman eyed her dismissively, yet Emma held steadfast, unwilling to cower. Greg's polite smile faltered as he shifted his attention back to her. "You know, I always thought she had talent," he responded, but it was devoid of the enthusiasm she was hoping to coax out of him. "That's an understatement," Emma replied, her voice slicing through the moment like a sharpened blade. "But talent isn't enough. It needs nurturing, and right now, it needs you." She watched him closely, noticing the slight twitch of his eyebrows, a flicker of realization crossing his features. She had effectively laid out a challenge, a thinly veiled confrontation, and the room seemed to fold inward around them. "Do you even realize the impact you could have if you championed her?" Emma pressed on, battling through the unease that came with exposing her vulnerability. "You have the resources, the networks, everything that could elevate her work beyond this gallery. You could help turn her dreams into reality." Greg's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, doubt flickered behind his stoic facade. It was a fleeting moment, but Emma seized it. She pushed forward. "You once said family is everything. Well, this is our family, and we need your support. But not just for the surface, the depth of it." Each word was heavy with significance, a call not just for Greg but for her own voice to emerge from the shadows of apathy. The laughter and clinking of glasses faded into the background as she focused solely on him, trying to bridge the chasm that had grown between them over the years. "Emma," he began, but she wasn't finished. "Don't you see?" she interrupted, her words surging forward like a tide. "It's not just about art on a wall. It's about recognition and belief, the kind of belief that can make a person feel they matter." The tense silence that followed threatened to engulf her, a testament to the emotional gamble she had just taken. Emma felt raw, exposed. But in that moment, she also felt more like herself than she had in years, the edges of her identity sharper, clearer. Suddenly, Greg's attention was drawn to a distant commotion in the corner of the gallery. A new group had entered, laughter mingling with the air. As his gaze strayed, Emma's heart sank. The moment she fought for seemed to slip away, like sand through her fingers. With clenched fists, she redirected her focus back to Lily, whose laughter erupted at the unveiling of another piece. The way her daughter connected with others, her sheer joy, was like watching a flower bloom against stark odds. Stung by the juxtaposition of hope and disappointment, Emma made a resolve within herself. No more waiting. No more lingering in the margins. If Greg couldn't see her worth, or worse refused to champion Lily, then perhaps it was time to carve her own path entirely. Taking a step back, Emma glanced at Lily again, her heart swelling with pride. They didn't need anyone but each other to flourish. With this new clarity, she imagined projects beyond the gallery, collaborations yet to unfold, and a life painted with vivid strokes of possibility. But the time for debate was melting away like the evening light, coaxing her to action. Emma turned back to Greg one last time before gathering her thoughts, ready to express her next strategic move, when she sensed a sudden shift in the air. What if I take this moment into my own hands? She pondered, contemplating the unexpected avenues that lay before her. The stakes had shifted, igniting a fire in her. Suddenly, the horizon was filled with promises of change, both professional and personal. Before she could dwell too long on that thought, an unexpected voice rang out, "She doesn't need your approval, Greg. She needs to be recognized." Emma's heart skipped as she turned to see who had spoken. The familiar face of an old friend from her past emerged, filled with confidence but an unmistakable challenge in their eyes. At that moment, Emma realized that the game was about to change, not just for her but for all of them. The atmosphere in the gallery shifted, alive with the buzz of excitement and curiosity. Emma's gaze tracked the stranger who had boldly interrupted, their eyes locked in a moment of mutual understanding. It felt as if a forgotten player had re-entered her story, a force she didn't expect but desperately needed. This was someone who believed in the power of recognition, someone who could help amplify the message she was fighting to convey. Is that what this is about? Recognition? Greg's tone was laced with sarcasm as he studied Emma and their vocal advocate, clearly unsettled by the challenge posed. Not just recognition. It's about legacy, the friend asserted, stepping forward. Emma's heart raced at this unexpected reinforcement. Lily deserves a platform that reflects her talent and passion. You have the connections to make it happen. Greg's expression darkened. He was not accustomed to being cornered, and the layers of discomfort beneath his disengagement were palpable. Emma sensed the struggle within him, an internal battle that mirrored her own between comfort in the status quo and the pressing need for change. As Emma listened, she realized this mutual struggle could be the linchpin that connected her past with her present. Perhaps her old friend's arrival heralded an opportunity to reconstruct the narrative of her life, one that no longer revolved around Greg's perceptions or decisions. Lily's art tells our story, Emma interjected, her voice rising above the murmurs. It screams resilience, love, and the fight against invisibility. This isn't just about helping her, it's about coming back to ourselves. Those words resonated deeply, echoing a truth she had buried for too long. Where art comes from a place of authenticity, it requires champions willing to declare its worth. This was not merely about securing Lily's future but reclaiming her own identity as an artist and as an individual, capable of forging her own destiny. I want to collaborate, Emma said steadily, her gaze unwavering as she met Greg's eyes. Let us put our resources together and create something spectacular for Lily. It's time we put our influence to work, not just for her, but for us as a family. The unexpected offer hung in the air, unsettled yet hopeful. After years of passive interactions, she was presenting a direct proposition, inviting Greg to partner in something powerful. Closing her eyes momentarily, she allowed herself to envision what that partnership could cultivate, a showcase that combined their strengths, a project steeped in both personal history and future potential, yet doubts tugged at her. Would Greg truly collaborate? Could he genuinely champion Lily's art, breaking through the barriers of their past? The silence stretched thin between them. Emma could feel every heartbeat, every breath, a palpable tension that threatened to unravel. At last, Greg shifted, the gears in his mind visibly turning. I'll think about it, he said, the edge of a challenge lacing his response. With that, Emma felt a surge of resolve. Thinking was a start, but she needed more than his contemplation. She needed action. Think fast, then, she replied, the assertiveness reasserting its grip on her voice. Time is precious. We have the chance to create something beautiful and impactful. Don't let it slip away. Then, as if fate was painting her journey anew, Emma felt a gentle tug on her sleeve. Turning, she found Lily standing beside her, eyes wide with anticipation. What did I miss? She asked innocently, unaware of the gravity clinging to the moment. Emma knelt, bringing herself to eye level with her daughter. We might be on the verge of something amazing, she whispered, excitement bubbling within her. How do you feel about co-creating an exhibition together? The spark in Lily's eyes ignited a warmth that pushed back the shadows of doubt accumulating around Emma. Here was her daughter, a reflection of creativity and hope, a tangible reason to rise above past hesitations. "Mom, that sounds incredible!" Lily exclaimed, enthusiasm replacing the uncertainty that had weighed down Emma moments ago. The connection between them felt electric, illuminating a path towards defiance against the cynicism that had encroached upon their lives. As they shared a smile, Emma recognized that this was not merely about an exhibition, it was a rekindling of their bond, a commitment to nurturing their collective passion for art, resilience, and unapologetic self-expression. Yet, even as optimism surged within her, she sensed a lurking challenge. Greg's hesitance remained, a potential roadblock just ahead. "Let us set our vision," Emma declared, composing herself. Together, they stood on the brink of possibility, ready to take that next step. But as new ideas flowed through their dialogue, she felt a familiar tug at her heart. Was she truly prepared to navigate this uncharted territory alone, or did she need Greg beside them? Emma inhaled deeply, the tension coiling back through her. The answer was nestled painfully close, bound to unravel in her next decision. "I'll gather a team," she resolved to Lily, the determination swelling with purpose. "And we'll launch this project, with or without him." But even as she spoke, Emma recognized this was a pivotal moment, one that could either draw them collectively closer or rip apart the fragile foundation they had been working to rebuild. The echoes of their conversation hung suspended in the air, a tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. And as she turned to face the gallery once more, an unexpected thought pierced through the chaos. Was it time to confront not just Greg but the larger world that had discounted her and Lily for too long? Perhaps it's time for a different kind of discourse, she mused internally, picturing a potential confrontation guiding her thoughts. The next chapter of their lives was waiting on the horizon, and she was ready to meet it head-on. As the chatter and clatter of the gallery enveloped her, Emma felt a shift, a realization this was merely the beginning of a more profound conversation, one that might redefine everything. But the question remained, was she ready for the impact it would inevitably unleash? The gallery buzzed like a beehive, alive with the heartbeat of creativity and ambition. The prospect of collaborating with Lily spun possibilities in Emma's mind, but the residual tension from Greg's dismissal loomed like a storm cloud. She could feel its weight pressing down, threatening to choke her newfound resolve. Gathering a team felt exhilarating, yet simultaneously daunting. The anticipation of what lay ahead was equally thrilling and terrifying. "Okay, so what's the first step?" Emma asked Lily, electrified by the moment. This was where they would transform an idea into tangible reality together. She knew she had to channel her vision into actionable plans. Lily's face lit up with excitement, eyes sparkling with possibilities as she grabbed a sketchbook from her bag. "We should brainstorm themes. What if we center the exhibition around the ideas of legacy and resilience, showing stories of our struggles through art?" "Exactly. Your artwork resonates with so many people," Emma encouraged, her tone brimming with enthusiasm. "We need to highlight that voice." As they sketched out concepts and themes, Emma felt an electric connection between them. It was as if every brush stroke and color choice brought them closer, knitting their hopes and aspirations into something tangible. Each page filled with ideas sparked a renewed sense of purpose within Emma, illuminating the path ahead. But even as they immersed themselves in the creative frenzy, a shadow flickered across her mind. Greg. His skepticism was a persistent itch beneath her skin, nagging at her determination. Did she want to prove him wrong? Or was it more about showing him that her power would no longer be dictated by his approval? The momentary distraction settled heavily on her conscience. If she was to carve a new legacy, one built on the unyielding bond with Lily, she had to confront those preset boundaries. "Lily," Emma interjected, seeking clarity, "how would you feel if we reached out to Greg again? I mean, really invited him to participate, maybe even as a contributor to our project?" Lily's brow knitted in contemplation. "But what if he pushes back again? What if he doesn't care?" Emma crossed her arms, her chin set in determination. "That's the chance we have to take. It's not just about him, it's about us creating this together. And who knows? He might surprise us. But as they continued brainstorming, Emma felt the burden of unresolved tension between them all. The brushstrokes of creativity were blocked by the creeping fear that Greg's hesitance could unravel their ambitions. Later that evening, Emma stood in her small studio, the walls adorned with her past works, and she wrestled with her own hesitation. Every piece reflected a chapter of her journey, but the emotional distance caused by Greg felt like a barrier between who she used to be and who she wanted to become. If they worked together, could they mend what had been cracked? Or would it widen further, threatening their fragile tapestry? The next move had to be precise. Emma understood that each decision carried weight. Her own evolution relied on both personal authenticity and confronting those obstacles that triggered her doubt. If she wavered, would it send a ripple effect through her and Lily's plans? As the night crept forward, she felt a powerful urge take hold, a realization that surged through her. The clarity she craved was not just in the plans they would lay out, but in the emotional confrontation she needed to have with Greg. The thought of facing him sent a chill down her spine, but it was also invigorating. I need to talk to Greg again, she said aloud to herself, knowing this was her next hurdle. This confrontation could be the key to unlocking the collaboration they all needed. And as she steeled herself for what lay ahead, the uncertainty hovered like an uninvited specter. Would Greg engage in a meaningful dialogue, or would he recoil under the weight of her ambitions? The stakes were set, and with the fate of the exhibition intertwined with her own growth, Emma knew she had to summon every ounce of courage within her. It was a game of risk and reward, a step into the unknown, one that could either strengthen their connections or lead to disappointment. With her heart pounding and mind racing, she glanced toward the artwork on her walls, each piece a testament to resilience, each brushstroke a story of its own. Tomorrow, she whispered to herself, tomorrow's the day I confront him. As Emma laid her head down that night, the weight of her decision lingered in the air. Would her struggle yield the breakthrough she so desperately craved? The moment of truth was inching closer, and the silence before the storm felt heavy with possibility. The morning sun filtered through the shutters, casting warm streaks across the floor of Emma's studio. She woke with a knot in her stomach, the looming confrontation with Greg setting the tone for the day. Determination pooled in her veins, yet doubt lingered like a shadow. Would she be able to articulate her thoughts without slipping back into her former self, the one who sought validation through his approval? She brewed a strong cup of coffee, the rich aroma sharpening her focus. As she sipped, she gazed out the window, the world bustling below, each person absorbed in their own pursuits. For the first time in a long while, Emma felt like a part of that world, not just an onlooker. But Greg's past dismissal of her ideas coiled in her mind, igniting a flicker of anxiety. Could she truly stand her ground against him? After a brisk shower, Emma chose her outfit carefully, a fusion of casual elegance that spoke of her vibrant personality yet commanded respect. Each garment she pulled on felt like armor, a conscious effort to fortify her against any potential backlash. As she looked in the mirror, she practiced the words she needed to say. With every repetition, a sense of resolve began to set in. This was about her growth, her vision, and ultimately, reclaiming her narrative. When Emma arrived at the coffee shop where they had agreed to meet, the atmosphere buzzed with morning energy. She spotted Greg at a corner table, his usual nonchalant demeanor somehow more off-putting today. He glanced up, recognition flickering in his eyes, but his smile failed to reach his expression as he gestured for her to join him. "Emma," he said, lifting his coffee cup slightly in greeting. "What's on your mind?" She took a breath, casting aside the wave of apprehension that threatened to engulf her. "Thanks for meeting me, Greg. I know we've had our differences, but I believe we could achieve something incredible together." His brow raised, skeptical. "What do you mean? What makes you think I'd want to collaborate again?" Fighting the urge to retreat, Emma pressed on. "Because our strengths complement each other. This exhibition can be more than just our individual pursuits, it can be a platform for personal stories that truly resonate. But I need your passion to make that happen." A flicker of intrigue passed across his features, but he quickly masked it with indifference. Greg leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. Emma felt the familiar weight of judgment like a stone pressing on her chest. Yet this time, she didn't flinch. "What if I told you I had my own vision?" he replied, the challenge evident in his tone. "Why should I trust your approach now?" Crisis and challenge danced in the air, each heartbeat resonating with Emma's resolve. "Because I've grown." She let the confession hang between them. "I understand that my value doesn't come from waiting for your approval. I want us to share our ideas honestly, not compete. Why do you always have to be the last word? What about collaboration?" The words came tumbling out, unveiling the layers of frustration that had built up over years. She watched as his facade cracked momentarily, but skepticism soon enveloped him again. "You still think you can change my mind?" he asked, probing. Emma leaned forward, heart racing, her voice steady. "I am not asking for permission, Greg. I'm inviting you to be part of something transformational. In this project, we can redefine who we are not just for ourselves, but for everyone who will engage with our work." In that moment, Emma felt a surge of empowerment. Fearful echoes from the past started to dissolve, replaced by a guiding strength fueled by her passion. Their eyes locked, the intensity of the moment simmering on the brink of something profound, but before Greg could respond, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, irritation crossing his face. "I'll think about it, Emma." His dismissal stung, but she wasn't shattered. She recognized the power of her own voice. As she stepped outside, the cool breeze welcomed her like a promise of new beginnings. Emma welcomed the rush of fresh air, invigorated by the confrontation. She realized a vital truth: she had faced Greg, stood her ground, and articulated her vision. Each contradiction between them now felt less like a barrier and more like an opportunity, an invitation to challenge each other creatively, yet, a flicker of doubt nagged at her thoughts. What if he ultimately rejected her? What if everything she envisioned was not enough to persuade him? Emma shook her head, dispelling the uncertainty. She had navigated a crucial step toward self-discovery. Whether or not Greg joined her, she could steer this ship alone if need be. As she walked, her mind swirled with new plans and possibilities, but one question danced to the forefront: how much longer could she afford to wait for Greg's answer? With renewed vigor, she resolved to pursue her vision more fiercely than before, let the world feel her presence, and showcase the stories she believed were waiting to be told. But for now, the next move remained undefined, a cliffhanger waiting to unfold. Emma took a deep breath, feeling both liberated and uncertain. She was ready to push her ambitions further and explore the unknown, whatever form it might take. The path ahead glimmered, and she could feel the anticipation building once more. The stage was set, and something profound was on the horizon. Would she seize it? As Emma walked the streets, her heart pulsed with the rhythm of possibility. Each step propelled her toward a newfound determination. The coffee shop she had just left faded from view, replaced by inspiration blooming in her mind like spring flowers pushing through winter soil. She envisioned the stories she wanted to tell through her art, raw, genuine, and unabashedly authentic. In the days that followed, Emma transformed her initial burst of courage into a structured canvas for action. She began to map out her ideas, scribbling furiously in her notebook as thoughts collided and intermingled in a whirlwind of creative energy. She envisioned an exhibition that seamlessly wove personal narratives with striking visuals, creating connections that transcended individual experiences. The crucial element was to uncover the stories that lay hidden within. She scheduled interviews with various individuals, intending to explore their journeys, struggles, and triumphs. Emma found solace and empowerment in listening deeply, truly deeply to others, where she could glean a truth that resonated universally. Each story revealed not only their hardship but also the resilience that anchored their lives. Yet, while gathering these stories, Emma wrestled with the lingering ghosts of doubt. Would her interpretations honor the experiences? She meticulously challenged herself, seeking feedback from her interviewees to ensure the essence of their stories remained intact. An unyielding curiosity began to replace her fear of judgment as she learned not just about others but about herself in the process. The act of vulnerability in sharing these profound truths sparked a fire within her. This was more than merely creating art, it was about creating a narrative that could empower, inspire, and heal. As the weeks rolled on, Emma's network began to widen. She reached out to other creators and artists who had ventured beyond their comfort zones. Together, they challenged each other, exchanged critiques, and expanded their perspectives. Emma now saw collaboration as an exchange of energies, where their collective experiences molded a new understanding. Deep down, she recognized the distinction between her former desire for Greg's validation and her current state of self-sufficiency. The day of her first gallery showing approached with unexpected swiftness. Emma's heart raced, not with anxiety but with an exhilaration that coursed through her veins. She decorated the space herself, hanging mixed media pieces that captured the stories she had shared. Her vision was taking flight, but she was acutely aware of Greg's absence. It hung suspended in her mind like an uninvited guest. Still, a small part of her hoped he would attend, if only to see what she had made of the collaboration he once dismissed. That anticipation fused with her resolve, setting the stage for something monumental. On the night of the show, Emma stood among friends and colleagues, hoping to spark dialogues through her work. Instead of waiting for Greg to approach, she greeted guests, discussing how each narrative was a reflection of both struggle and joy housed within each participant. There was an electric energy in the air as people engaged with her pieces, igniting conversations that sparkled like fireworks, but as guests began to leave, exhaustion weighed on her. She felt an ebbing need for affirmation that she had avoided throughout her journey. What if no one truly understood her vision? The thought gnawed at her until, just then, the door swung open. Emma turned, her breath catching as Greg stepped inside, scanning the room with an air of cautious intrigue. Her heart raced, and a mixture of dread and exhilaration swept through her. This was an opportunity, a chance to show him how far she had come, to reveal that her worth was not contingent on his validation. Could she articulate all that she had experienced without reverting back to the disquiet of previous encounters? Would this night prove she wasn't just an extension of his vision, but a formidable creator in her own right? As she stepped forward to greet him, a profound revelation settled within her. Tonight wasn't just about what he thought, it was about showcasing her journey and the stories that pulsed through the heart of her work. Embracing her newfound strength, Emma prepared to confront her past and discover if she could fully embrace the artist she had become. Would this night mark the conclusion of two conflicting worlds merging, or would it spell the beginning of a new narrative entirely? The anticipation lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken questions and the whispers of new beginnings. Emma inhaled deeply, steadied by the realization that the moment she was about to embrace was hers alone. The crowded gallery buzzed around her, but all she could focus on was Greg, standing at the threshold, framed by the soft light of the entryway, a figure from her past now placed in the context of her present. Her heels clicked against the polished floor as she moved towards him, each step deliberate and filled with purpose. This was not merely a meeting, it was a statement, a declaration of her independence as an artist and as a person. As she drew closer, she struggled to suppress the swirling doubts that threatened to suffocate her newfound clarity. "Emma," he greeted, a hint of surprise sparking in his gaze. "Greg," she replied, her voice steady, striving for a confidence that felt precarious but was just within reach. It was important now, she reminded herself, to listen to her inner voice. She had no intention of shrinking before him. Instead, she wanted to show him the breadth of her journey. As they engaged in casual conversation, she noted his compliments, recognizing them for what they were. But rather than allowing them to validate her, she sought to own the narrative. "Every piece in this exhibition reflects a real story, real human experiences," she asserted, gesturing to a striking collage that captured the essence of resilience through the trials of a single mother. "This isn't just art, it's a conversation." Greg's brow furrowed, any lingering doubt he once harbored apparently still present. "I always knew you were talented," he said, his expression caught between admiration and confusion. "But this is different." His words struck like a hammer to the heart. He was still trying to fit her into his predefined box. A moment of self-doubt threatened to creep back in, but Emma pushed it aside. She had fought hard to escape the shadows of his expectations. "Different can be powerful," she replied, feeling the furnace of her resolve igniting within her. "I wanted to honor these stories, Greg, not just create something pretty. I hope my work speaks to people on a deeper level." The words flowed more easily as she expressed her intentions. She no longer sought his approval, nor did she care if he understood. What mattered was her own voice. Each piece was a testament to struggles faced not alone but in community, an affirmation of her faith in humanity's spirit. She could see him processing her words, doubt giving way to a flicker of realization. This was her chance. Did she want him to see her as she had been, or reveal who she had grown to become? "Do you think they will resonate?" he asked, hinting at an underlying vulnerability she hadn't expected. The question jolted her. It was not his usual tone. There was a sense of uncertainty mixed with an invitation to engage further. "Resonance isn't about being perfect. It's about connection. Maybe it's time we consider what we each bring to the table," Emma replied, feeling stronger with each passing moment. "Art is subjective, but its essence lies in its authenticity and the courage to share stories, no matter how raw." As Greg absorbed her words, she focused on articulating not just her mission but her evolution as an artist. The way she navigated her journey, even the vulnerabilities, transformed her from a mere participant in her art to its passionate custodian. Just then, a group of attendees gathered around one piece, deep in conversation, igniting the energy of the room. Taking a breath, Emma stepped away from Greg, inviting him to join them. The moment felt right. She realized she could share this space without a need for approval. As she moved through her exhibition, conversing and pointing out the nuances that defined each story, she discovered a sense of empowerment building within her. The knowledge that she had navigated through self-doubt and emerged stronger was liberating. She did not need Greg's validation to validate her worth, yet, as the night unfolded, a thought nagged at the back of her mind. Did Greg truly comprehend the profound transformation she had undergone? And if he did, would he still be able to accept her as she was now? Wrapped in her thoughts, Emma caught sight of Greg across the room, engrossed in a conversation that he seemed to relish. Something about her vision, a stirring mixture of pride and uncertainty, danced in her chest. She understood then, clarity dawning. This was about more than just an exhibition or his perception. Perhaps it was also an exploration of their connection. Could the past coexist with her present growth? And what choices lay ahead for her, now that she had firmly planted herself in her own narrative? The realization called to her, unearthing questions she had yet to confront. How far was she willing to push boundaries for herself, and could she renegotiate the intricate ties of her past while moving forward? Emma took a deep breath, knowing she was on the precipice of redefining not only herself but her relationship with Greg, all as the night lingered into unintended possibilities. As the evening drew to a close, Emma found herself enveloped in her own thoughts, riding the emotional waves of the night that had opened up like a book laid bare. Each conversation, each flicker of connection forged through her exhibition, brought her closer to a realization she had long overlooked. She was not just an artist but a vessel of resilience, both for herself and for those stories she chose to illuminate. In the chaos of voices and laughter, something stirred within her when she caught Greg's eye again. There was a softness there, perhaps a recognition of her journey and an unwillingness to dismiss her. It was a moment that shifted her perspective, leaving nothing but clarity behind. Emma felt a potent blend of vulnerability and strength surge through her veins, urging her onward. This was not merely about proving her worth to Greg or the world, it was about embracing her own narrative and standing unapologetically in her truth. Gathering her composure, Emma stepped closer to Greg, who stood in a pocket of guests. The tension between them vibrated beneath the surface, crackling with the unsaid. Here she was, confronting not just the expectation set upon her, but the expectation she held for herself. "Greg," she began, her voice steady, "I need you to understand something. I'm not afraid of what we used to be, but I refuse to let it define who I am now." His gaze softened as he registered her words. "Emma, I see what you've created here. It's Powerful. But it feels different than what I expected. Different can be a stepping stone, Emma replied, letting the warmth of understanding flow through her. This is an evolution not just for me but for both of us. Don't you feel it? Our stories have always intertwined, it's about rediscovering that connection. A slight nod from Greg reassured Emma, a sign he wasn't as disconnected as she once believed. Perhaps he was beginning to bridge the gap that once felt insurmountable. You think there's value in collaborating again? He asked, a genuine inquiry that surprised them both. Like sunlight breaking through a veil, Emma met his gaze, knowing this was not a negotiation but a promise to themselves. Value lies not just in collaboration but in honoring each other's growth. Imagine the stories we could tell together, our strengths combined, a shared legacy that speaks to resilience, love, and creativity. The conversation wrapped around them, tinged with a blend of uncertainty and hope. Emma felt the weight of skepticism begin to lift. She realized what she desired most wasn't just an affirmation but a partnership revitalized by mutual respect and acknowledgement of growth. I've been thinking. Greg began hesitantly. Perhaps there's more we could explore together, not just for one exhibition but for an ongoing project that allows both our voices to shine. A thrill of excitement coursed through Emma. She was poised at the edge of a shift, a collective understanding that promised a deeper partnership. With her heart racing, she replied, yes. Let us explore this more together. The charged connection crackled in the air between them, a recognition of past struggles intertwined with future ambitions. As their conversation deepened, Emma recalled the core reason behind her art, the love she had for Lily and the fierce desire to support her dreams. All of this stems from our bond, she expressed, her voice rich with conviction. I started this to empower her, to show her that her voice matters. In this, we're not just sharing art but also redefining our identities. Greg's eyes flickered with a mixture of respect and realization. I see that now, Emma. Your commitment to Lily is undeniable. Maybe this journey was never only about you and me, but about everything we stand for together. In that moment, amidst the colorful canvases and animated conversations, they both recognized how far they had come, not just as individuals but as partners united by a common purpose to uplift and inspire through art. Greg's presence no longer felt like a gatekeeper but a collaborator eager to explore new horizons. Alongside her. As they settled into their conversation, laughter and applause filtered through the gallery where Emma's pieces came alive in each viewer's eyes. She realized the true significance of the night was less about external validation and more about internal transformation. Later, after many heartfelt discussions and an exchange of ideas, the realization washed over Emma: she was no longer merely a housekeeper enveloped in self-doubt. She had grown into a recognized artist with a strong voice, capable of securing her future independently while creating a shared legacy that honored her past. To deepen their resolve and embrace the line of growth they both yearned to achieve, Emma reached for Greg's hand, holding on tight. Let us champion each other, for Lily and for ourselves. Together, we can create art that truly speaks to resilience. This is our moment. With those words, Emma reaffirmed her commitment not just to herself but to the journey she was building alongside Greg, a partnership woven from shared aspirations and renewed respect. With excitement coursing through her, Emma felt the final, satisfying resolution of her quest, the confidence to embrace her identity as an artist, hand in hand with a willingness to walk tall alongside Greg, ready to face the next chapter together. As night settled, casting a gentle glow upon their tentative partnership, Emma understood she had not only achieved her goal but had also conquered the self-imposed limitations that had once held her back. There was no looking back now, only an expansive horizon filled with the promise of untold stories left to weave. Make sure to experience that transformation with Emma as you follow her incredible journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and theories about this powerful conclusion, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this uplifting transformation. Don't wait even one more second. Join us and be a part of these inspiring narratives.